Texas, United States of America. This is Smart Mado Ajaja, the convener of Open Nigeria and Africa Unite, and the CEO of ONN. Yes, how are you all doing this morning? Yes, during the week, something major happened, a global event, a meeting between the President of the United States, President Donald J. Trump, and the President of the Republic of Russia, President Vladimir Putin. Landmark event talking about global security. So I wanted to use this opportunity to bring it to our viewers from around the world and Africa to have a look, or those who missed it, to experience the event live here at ONN. So without wasting a lot of time, I'm going to play it, and then after that, we will talk. Yes. All right, let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America and the President of the Russian Federation.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen,
That's President Putin opening remarks.
held in a constructive atmosphere of mutual respect. We had very thorough negotiations that were quite useful. I would like to thank once again my American counterpart for the proposal to travel out here to Alaska. It only makes sense that we've met here because our countries, though separated by the oceans, are close neighbors. So when we've met, when I came out of the plane and I've said, "Good afternoon, dear neighbor. Very good to see you. In good health and to see you alive." I think that is very neighborly.
Do not call an attorney if you've been in a car accident. There's a smarter way to get paid a way bigger check without expensive upfront legal fees or dealing with the insurance hassles. If you've been in a...
And I think that's some kind words that we can say to each other. We're separated by the Strait of Bering, though there are 2 islands only between the Russian island
Hey, USA, how are you?
They're only 4 kilometers apart. We're close neighbors, and it's a fact. It's also important that Alaska has to do with our common heritage, common history between Russia and the US, and many positive events have to do with that territory. Still, there is tremendous cultural heritage back from the Russian America. For example, Orthodox churches and a lot of more than 700 geographical names of Russian origin. During the Second World War, it was here in Alaska that was the origin of the legendary air bridge for the supply of military air.
Please, if you are just joining us for the very first time, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel so we can continue to grow bigger and bigger and bigger organically. Welcome, welcome. And I'm not going to talk a lot until this whole thing is concluded. So all of us will have a discussion from it. Hey, Stova from California, you are welcome to this stream. Yes. Thank you very much. Yes. All right. So join us as we listen to this historic statements from 2 great presidents from Russia and the United States, respectively. All right. Let's go. Let's roll.
And other equipment under the Lend-Lease program. It was a dangerous and treacherous route over the vast emptiness of ice. However, the pilots of both countries did everything to bring closer the victory. They risked their lives and they gave it all for the common victory. I was just in the city of Magadan in Russia, and there is a memorial there dedicated to the Russian and the US pilots. And there are 2 flags, the US flag and the Russian flag. And I know that here as well, there is such a memorial.
Just give me a second. I want to stop people from sending me messages. Autofocus. Good. Not this stuff. All right.
There is a military burial place several kilometers away from here. The Soviet pilots that buried there who died during that dangerous mission. We're thankful to the citizens and the government of the U.S. for carefully taking care of their memory. I think that's very worthy and noble. We'll always remember other historical examples when our countries defeated common enemies together in the spirit of battle camaraderie
They defeated
and
common
allyship
enemies.
that supported each other and facilitated each other. I'm sure that this heritage will help us rebuild and foster mutually beneficial and equal ties at this new stage, even during the hardest conditions. It is known that there have been no summits between Russia and the US.
Stove, I'm from Houston,
for
Texas.
That's a long time. This time was very hard for bilateral relations, and let's be frank, they've fallen to the lowest point since the Cold War. I think that's not benefiting our countries and the world as a whole. It is apparent that sooner or later we had to amend the situation to move on from the confrontation to dialogue. And in this case, a personal meeting between the heads of state has been long overdue. Naturally, under the condition of serious and painstaking work, and this work has been done in general. Me and President Trump have very good direct contact.
Very good direct contact.
Multiple times, we spoke frankly on the phone.
The staff here at InStyle Dental, they are very caring, very considerate. They really work with you. They explain the procedure. They let you know what you can expect. And it makes a difference. So day one, when you leave and they have extracted all of your remaining teeth, they will have you leave with a mouthful of temporary teeth. The temps actually felt good and worked fine.
And special envoy of the president, Mr. Witkoff, traveled out to Russia several times. Our advisors and heads of foreign ministries kept in touch all the time. And you know fully well that one of the central issues was the situation around Ukraine. We see the strive of the administration and President Trump personally to help facilitate the resolution of the Ukrainian conflict. And his strive to get to the crux of the matter, to understand this history, is precious. As I've said, the situation in Ukraine has to do with fundamental threats to our security. Moreover, we've always considered the Ukrainian nation, and I've said it multiple times, a brotherly nation, however strange it may sound in these conditions. We have the same roots, and everything that's happening is a tragedy for us and terrible wound. Therefore, the country is sincerely interested in putting an end to it. At the same time, we're convinced that in order to make the settlement lasting and long-term, we need to eliminate all the primary roots, the primary causes of that conflict. And we've said it multiple times, to consider all legitimate concerns of Russia and to reinstate a just balance of security in Europe and in the world on the whole. And I agree with President Trump, as he has said today, that naturally the security of Ukraine should be ensured as well. Naturally, we are prepared to work on that. I would like to hope that the agreement that we've reached together will help us bring closer that goal and will pave the path towards peace in Ukraine. We expect that Kiev and European capitals will perceive that constructively and that they won't throw a wrench in the works. They will not make any attempts to use some backroom dealings to conduct provocations to torpedo the nascent progress. Incidentally, when the new administration came to power, bilateral trade started to grow. It's still very symbolic. Still, we have a growth of 20%. As I've said, we have a lot of dimensions for joint work. It is clear that the U.S. and Russian investment and business cooperation has tremendous potential. Russia and the U.S. can offer each other so much in trade, digital, high-tech, and in space exploration. We see that Arctic cooperation is also very possible, and our international context, for example, between the Far East of Russia and the West Coast of the US. Overall, it's very important for our countries to turn the page, to go back to cooperation. It is symbolic that not far away from here,
I hope so too, Stover.
in the US, there is a so-called international dateline. I think you can step over literally from yesterday into tomorrow. And I hope we'll succeed in that in political sphere. I would like to thank President Trump for our joint work, for the well-wishing and trustworthy tone of our conversation. It's important that both sides are result-oriented, and we see that the President of the U.S. has a very clear idea of what he would like to achieve. He sincerely cares about prosperity of his nation. Still, he understands that Russia has its own national interests. I expect that today's agreements will be the starting point, not only for the solution of the Ukrainian issue, but also will help us bring back business-like and pragmatic relations between Russia and the US. And in the end, I would like to add one more thing. I'd like to remind you that in 2022, during the last contact with the previous administration, I tried to convince my previous American colleague that the situation should not be brought to the point of no return when it would come to hostilities. And I said it quite directly back then that it's a big mistake. Today, when President Trump saying that if he was the president back then, there will be no war. And I'm quite sure that it would indeed be so. I can confirm that. I think that overall, me and President Trump have built a very good business-like and trustworthy contact. And I have every reason to believe that moving down this path, we can come, and the sooner the better, to the end of the conflict in Ukraine. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. That was very profound, and I will say that I believe we had a very productive meeting. There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones.
Now Donald Trump
we
speaking.
haven't quite got there, but we've made some headway. So there's no deal until there's a deal. I will call up NATO in a little while. I will call up the various people that I think are appropriate, and I'll, of course, call up President Zelensky and tell him about today's meeting. It's ultimately up to them. They're going to have to agree with what Marco and Steve and some.
When you get in your car, you just need to put your location in the trip planner. It recommends where you need to stop, for how long, park.
The great people from the Trump administration who've come here, Scott and John Radcliffe, thank you very much. But we have some of our really great leaders. They've been doing a phenomenal job. We also have some tremendous Russian business representatives here, and I think everybody wants to deal with us. We've become the hottest country anywhere in the world in a very short period of time, and we look forward to that. We look forward to dealing. We're going to try and get this over with. We really made some great progress today. I've always had a fantastic relationship with President Putin, with Vladimir. We had many tough meetings, good meetings. We were interfered with by the Russia hoax. It made it a little bit tougher to deal with, but he understood it. I think he's probably seen things like that during the course of his career. He's seen it all, but we had to put up with the Russia hoax. He knew it was a hoax, and I knew it was a hoax, but what was done was very criminal. But it made it harder for us to deal as a country in terms of the business and all of the things that we'd like to have dealt with. But we'll have a good chance when this is over. So just to put it very quickly, I'm going to start making a few phone calls and tell them what happened. But we had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there. I would like to thank President Putin and his entire team, whose faces, who I know in many cases, other than that, whose faces I get to see all the time in the newspapers. You're almost as famous as the boss, but especially this one right over here. But we had some good meetings over the years, right? Good productive meetings over the years, and We hope to have that in the future, but let's do the most productive one right now. We're going to stop really 5, 6, 7,000, thousands of people a week from being killed, and President Putin wants to see that as much as I do. So, again, Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening. Thank you very much, Vladimir. And thank you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, yeah, you heard it. The meeting between President Donald Trump of the United States and Vladimir Putin of Russia. You see the atmosphere of mutual respect, an atmosphere of, I hope, business like people who are ready to achieve a result. And I hope, and really hope, and pray that this will put an end to this craziness going on between Russia and Ukraine. Two countries from the same root, but which fell apart because of interests. Okay, Ahmed, go ahead and ask your question. I hope it's one that I can answer, then I will provide you an answer. If not, I will refer you to President Donald Trump and President Putin. Because if you ask me anything that am I supporting Palestine? I am in support of the end of the killing of innocent and defenseless children and women, period. All right, by anybody, under any guise, or whatever name they are called. Yes, I do not support that Gaza is being destroyed the way it's being destroyed. That is where. But I want to tell you too, that I am from Nigeria. We are facing a similar thing in Nigeria. And then I want you to understand that the situation in Palestine is not about religion. It is about land. But sadly, some wicked people have put a religious toxin into it to make it look like it's religious. It's not. It's not a religious thing. I hope you understand. All right. Okay, I'm happy. Gaza is still alive. If the land is theirs, they have a right to it. And no matter what anybody does, the right to fight for human dignity is a basic human right. So I understand that too. So I liken what is happening in Gaza to what is happening in Nigeria right now, where some people driven by a wild and rabid religious ideology are destroying our country. They call themselves Boko Haram. Some call themselves Fulani bandits and all that. They are doing the same thing Israel is accused of doing in Gaza. So I hope you are with the people of Nigeria. We don't want to see anything. Why do I hate? Why you hate Palestine? I do not hate Palestine. If anything, I have been a voice for those in Palestine. But I don't want you to distract us with that issue. I've spoken many times on it and all that. Okay? So we are back to the issue of the meeting between President Donald Trump and President Vladimir Putin. I am happy based on what they just stated, the two of them stated here before the whole of the world to hear that they are making a headway. You know, they're making a serious headway to ending the crisis in Ukraine. If they end the crisis in Ukraine, those who have been benefiting from selling arms and ammunition will go out of business. So that's the end of business for them, because they are the ones who don't want it to end. Like they don't want wars everywhere to end, because it benefits them. They benefit from seeing people's blood spilled. So I am so happy And I hope that they bring that war to an end very quickly, so that that place will have peace, and that the people have the opportunity of rebuilding. They are the same people. Yes, they are the same people. The same people. Interest created by Imperial Europe. Europe is the cause of the world's problem. Europe. That little place they call Europe. And Britain, especially Britain, France. Yes, they are the problem of the world. Created problem around the world. I'm not saying the citizens, they are corrupt politicians and imperial businessmen. They are the ones creating trouble everywhere. They started it so many centuries ago. Yes, they want to control the whole world. So that's why the world is a mess the way it is right now. So if President Donald Trump and President Putin can come together and end that carnage, I'll be very happy. But there's one thing that I saw striking in this whole thing. All right. Queso Brooker, I'm going to have to let you go because you are distracting us, and we don't want people like you here. All right, we are here for business. We are not here to joke. Okay, so thumb up for President Putin and President Donald J. Trump, and I hope that this will signal an end to it. President Trump proposed to call NATO immediately. NATO is a racist organization, all creating confusion around the world for the control of weak countries' mineral resources. Yeah, that's why they built an army, separate army of oppressing and repressing the whole world. That organization ought to be disbanded, just the way the United Nations should be disbanded or democratized at worst. If they cannot disband it. Yes. So there was something striking in this meeting here. Something very, 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 very striking. The atmosphere of respect, the atmosphere of mutual respect. You see, when you go to Alaska and you stand in Alaska from Anchorage looking at towards Russia, you see, is the Bering Sea that is the mark, what separates Russia and the United States from that part of the US and Russia respectively. So you see light, electricity beaming from Moscow into Alaska. Yeah, this is how close these people are. But why do politicians for over decades have been creating trouble? They mislead citizens from these two countries. Oh, Russia hates America. America hates Russia. It's about leadership and what is an interest. Yes. So why can't we have respect? Why were some people playing Ukraine against Russia? What is the threat that Russia poses to Ukraine? Actually, to want to make Ukraine a part of NATO. Why? What is all this? So that barrier has to be broken. And this is what those who drive NATO do not want to see. Yes, look at what they did in Africa. Look at what they did to Libya. Because they wanted one man out so that they can control their resources. They destroyed a whole country. They wrecked that whole country. Yes. And the place will never be the same ever again because of the level of destruction. And the destruction NATO brought about in Libya is responsible for what is going on in West Africa with Nigeria. Yes, with Nigeria nearly now being destabilized. All the dangerous weapons and criminals who escaped from Libya poured into the Sahel, formed an army of destabilization, financed and funded, yes, trained by France, a part of NATO. Yes, that little France, part of NATO. Yes, France that has absolutely nothing to survive on. They want to survive on the pains and the exploitation of Africa. Now, ask them to leave, it becomes a problem. Yes. He said they had two diametrically opposed systems, capitalism and communism. Well, whatever works for a people, I think people should be allowed to enjoy what works for them and not imposing your way on them. That is where the problem is. I agree with you. So that's the thing. What is the difference between capitalism and communism? If it is working for those who live in any places where those two systems are practiced and they are happy, they should be allowed to be happy. I believe that Russia has been doing business with the United States, even as a communist state, like they say. You know, I've never been to Russia, but I would love to visit Russia, perhaps in no distant time, to personally experience it. Coming from Nigeria, I know that there are a lot of Nigerians in Russia, and they don't complain about hell in Russia. Well, those are the two systems. So if along the line they decide to blend and make things work for their citizens, that's fine, you know. So this situation, what I saw from this meeting, I love the mutual respect. I love the respect. I love that nobody treated the other as a little boy, like the African leaders who were treated by President Trump when they came here. They were treated like schoolboys. All right, I'm not sure they had an opportunity to stay on a podium like this to talk dispassionately about what is happening in their countries and the way forward. What I saw from the meeting held between Donald Trump and some African heads of state was that the African schoolboys who are called African leaders came cap in hand, begging for arms. When they are from a continent that is the richest continent on earth. Yes, some people come and sign away their mineral rights away. Yes. So that did not happen here. That is the reason why if you are an African listening to this, now you got to have to borrow sense and start thinking. Why are African leaders treated the way? What are they doing wrongly that they are not respected when they go out there to meet foreign leaders? Yes. So what is the reason they cannot develop Africa? What is the reason they cannot build capacity in their people? What is the reason they cannot build education that educate people along the line of who they are? Why are they not able to build research institutions that can research based on who we are and the masters of the environment? Why do they have to always be begging for arms and begging for aid from what was taken from their continent? This is an interesting one. Yes. You call it the power dynamics. Yes, if any power dynamics that suppresses people, that exploits the people and makes some people poorer, even when they are so rich, then I have a problem with that. And they are not peers. So that is why we want to ask, we are asking that Africans now start thinking, yes, they have to go back home and do some introspection, because you have to earn respect. You have to earn respect. You never earn respect by being beggars all your life. Yes, you don't earn respect by not empowering your people. Yes, you don't earn respect by praying to God 24 hours when God has given you everything that you need to be the best and be the greatest. You can't earn respect by just being subservient. You can't earn respect by not being able to dust out the story and the history surrounding slavery, colonialism, apartheid, and now we are dealing with globalization. Yes. Brain drain is the main problem of Africa. Yes. Now, what causes this brain drain? Tell me, what causes the brain drain? The brain drain was, the foundation of brain drain was laid by the imperial assault on Africa that puts puppets in power as leaders of Africa. Puppets who are emasculated. Puppets who are not able to voice out anything. You say something, the next time you are gone. So we are at the level, at the moment, where we have to take our destiny. The African people must take their destiny in their hands. I believe that was what America did to be able to free itself from the overbearing influence of Little Britain that causes Great Britain. Yes, America was a British colony. Americans decided after so many years of being exploited by Imperial Britain that they were not going to be part of that mess anymore. So they cut it off. They decided to build their own country. They severed link and removed themselves from the British Commonwealth. And once that happened, America sprouted and started growing to the point of becoming a superpower that Britain now looks up to for leadership. That is a people who are determined to make a difference. Yes, that is what we want to see for Africa. And that is not what we want tomorrow. We want it now. It has to start now. I felt so sick, looking at those who are supposed to be African leaders come to the White House. They were like animals released from the zoo. So happy to be in freedom. It's annoying. It's really annoying. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. Africa. I hope you Africans watching me today share this message. Push it as hard and as far so it gets to your leaders. I don't recognize any of them except maybe perhaps one, Ibrahim Traore. Yeah, the young man, standing out and standing tall. Yes, to be something different from what has been in the past. And urgently, I want the African people to dismantle the African Union because it's not serving their interest. The African Union is a hijacked, broke-ass union that cannot do anything for the people of Africa. They have failed. They derailed from the founding objective, by great men like Emperor Haile Selassie, Kwame Nkrumah, Modibo Keita, Sekou Toure, and the rest of them, who had a dream about what is taking place, who had a vision for one state Africa, one United States of Africa. If we don't go back to that vision, yes, if we don't go back to that vision, Africa will not only be recolonized, it will be occupied forever. Yes, yes, if Africa does not rethink and go back to the vision of the founding fathers, that continent will be recolonized and occupied for keeps because Africa is the destination. Africa is the destination. Yes, bro, you're asking me, you say, what is your view on the unnecessary tariffs on India? India is not the only country that is groaning under this tariff. I don't understand what this, how it benefits anybody. The only thing is that it makes people suffer. It makes the poor people suffer the more. Yes, it makes everybody suffer the more. And I don't know where all this money will be going to. Yes, but here in this country, things are not as easy as it used to be. No, things are not easy as they used to be. The inflation is so high. A lot of people are losing jobs. Yeah, cost of living is rising astronomically high. So that is what it is. As it is affecting India, so it is affecting the citizens here. So we are here to understand the direction we are going in that area. Yeah, the taxation is killing. But that is what it is right now. So the people of the world, especially from the developing countries, it is time you look more into, look at the type of leadership that you choose. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to my brothers and sisters from Africa. Especially I'm talking to my brothers and sisters from Nigeria. What Nigeria is suffering today is a reflection of the type of leadership that we chose on purpose. Or that arose because of our indifference to choosing the right type of leaders. Some of us think it is not our business to get involved with the leadership of our country, to get involved about who comes to power. Yes, like Nigeria, a country in the hands of a drug dealer. A criminal cannot take any country anywhere, but sink it like Nigeria is sinking right now. Africa and the rest of the world, take heed and understand. Thank you very much. Yes, brother, Mexico is becoming #1 for trading partners, is on the rise. All right, very good. And what will benefit citizens of nations? That is what is my interest. I am not interested in what will benefit only a few people, and then the majority are suffering. Yeah, that is the sorry state of countries around the world. Yes, in Nigeria, Nigeria is actually totally on the canvas, and it's so sad that we are where we are. The whole of Africa, 1.5 billion people, with nearly 90% of the people in abject poverty. Yes, yes. Okay, Fernando Soto, you said this. Good way to take Trump when income tax come. Same time, help children of Kenya. Now, the world labor of USA with Trump. All right, yeah, well, it's a situation that leaders, again, starting from you and me and everybody who understands all this. What can we do? We got to go back to our various countries to build a movement for change that will put the right people in power. When the right people are in power, the economies of their countries will grow and the people will be empowered. Yes, so that poverty is significantly reduced. And then when there is no poverty, you don't talk about crime, because everybody is engaged with doing one thing or the other. Amina Hagos, you said, what is the Ethiopian flag? Lion of Judah. Ethiopian flag, this what you are saying is a Rastafarian flag. But Ethiopia is the hub of Rastafarianism. So it means strength. It means light. Yeah, the red part of it is the African blood that was shed. And the black part is the color of our skin. And the green part is the vegetation, rich African vegetation. That's what it means. And that is the strength of the Rastas. And that is why we are able to speak to the earth. We speak to the earth. We speak to the world. We speak right and we speak justice without fear. Yes, I'm Ethiopian, Amen. A Christian, and the Lion of Judah is Christian domination over other Ethiopian people. Oh, great. Good to see you. Good to meet you, Hagos. How is Ethiopia today? I hope Ethiopia is peaceful. Yes. So, you know, the power of Emperor Haile Selassie when he was able to bring the whole country together. But as soon as they killed him, the country started falling apart and started drifting in the wrong direction. Yes. He never claimed that he was God. Haile Selassie never told anybody that he was God. All right? And but he was a prophet, and you cannot deny that. All right? But if you are a human being, you must know too, even you who is speaking, you must know too that God is in everybody. God reflects himself through people, and God reflected himself through Emperor Haile Selassie. God is reflecting himself through you, me, and all good peoples of the earth. He never claimed to be a God. No. I think people, you know, high respect the kind of man he was, the integrity he has. Yes. So that is what people relate to. And then I don't fault them. All right? Yes. Yes, he was. He was. Yes, tell me how he's not. He was a good organizer. He built the modern Ethiopia. He built Ethiopia from the scratch. Yes. All right? Okay. All right. And the flag denotes Solomonic dynasty, a feudal system, but it also represented African resistance against colonialism. Yes, any system that makes people poor, I am not for it. The prophet was murdered by military junta. Mengistu Miriam. Where is Mengistu today? Is he still alive? I'm sure he died in Zimbabwe. Yes, because he collected money from imperial powers to oust a man who was doing very well for his country. Yes. All right. All right. All right. Okay, so what we are talking about is how can the world be a better place? With the United States and Russia, honestly, two powerful countries on earth, will they be honest to allow a world where people will live collectively without pains and strifes anymore? Will they allow their interests, to subside for the world to evolve the way the Almighty God wants it? Yes. Will they continue to allow politicians and capitalists or people, exploiters, companies and corporations from their countries to continue to exploit the world? Will they be so magnanimous to say, you know what? Africa has been abused for centuries. Yes, Africa has been raped. African people have been stolen, millions of them by the Arabs. Arabs took Africans into captivity for 700 years. I mean, I hope you are hearing, you know that part of that our history. The Arabs enslaved Africans for 700 years. And after that, the European came and enslaved them for another 400 years. Yes, 400 years, subjugated them here in the United States and everywhere they took them. Yes. And you see the reason why the African race is confused. Yes, from years of abuse, years of exploitation, years of slavery, years of stealing their resources without giving back anything, years of being treated like they are animals in caves and zoos. Will these powers now say, we have done enough evil to these people, and now let us make the world work so everything will go around for the people? Will they do that? We're looking forward. If they are able to solve the confusion in Ukraine, they should move to Africa and inspire a new type of leadership that will come out and be able to stand face to face, toe to toe, head to head with any of them to talk about global issues. We don't want any people who be coming to talk us down. That is what we are talking about. That is what we are demanding. That is why rebellion is rising everywhere in Africa right now. Yeah, their ancestors were responsible for what happened to Africa. Yes, their ancestors were responsible. Yes. Are they going to atone for their sins and what they have continued in different names? The same ideology, the same philosophy, underwritten by slavery. It is time. So this is the reason why. This is the reason why this meeting was such a historic meeting. And I hope the effects will positively impact a new direction, a new thinking in the world. Okay, let me take some of this. All right, let me read this. Lisa said, the secret relationship between black and Jews. Professor Tony Martin. Thomas Sowell's facts about slavery, not mentioned in school. All right, if you throw some more light, I'll be very much interested in learning some more, because here we learn, we listen, we exchange views with respect and not abuse or disrespect. So my employer, white man, was very hard, good pay. He go to the sky. I am sorry for the wife. Oh, I don't know about that. Anyway, so President Vladimir Putin and President Donald Trump had a very historic meeting in Alaska, talking about the peace in Europe. Yes, and starting with peace in Ukraine. Now, Will NATO be ready to back down? Will NATO remove its ugly fingers from the affairs of Ukraine and allow Ukraine run like a country that it should be? All right, brothers, they are brothers and sisters with the Russians. What will lead to the end of the mutual suspicion between Russia and Ukraine? With the two countries, will Zelensky be able to be man enough to face President Vladimir Putin and tell him, hey, brother, let us end this fight. Let us rebuild our countries. Let us be the brothers that we should be. What is the reason that they cannot be good neighbors, brothers and sisters? Yes, it's NATO, Imperial Europe, creating confusion all over the world. They don't have anything. They want to continue to create means to grow their own economy through the blood of innocent and defenseless people. That's what they did all over Africa, and they are still doing it. They have not stopped. And that is why when Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali asked them to leave their country, they were kicking. They didn't want to leave. And they are busy. They have, even as of last week, they tried to sponsor a coup in Mali. Yes, because they think they own the world. They don't own the world. And that is the message people are beginning to send to them. This is the 21st century. We have gone past those centuries of slavery, the century of colonialism, the century of imperialism, the century of apartheid. Yes, now we are in globalization. You know what? All these things are the same thing. But we need respect. The people of the world need respect. We don't need this whole bloodshed anymore. The Almighty God did not create anybody to be superior to others. He didn't make anybody a supervisor of the whole of the world. So that is why when we look at the United Nations, coming from the position of an African, 54 countries, the largest bloc that comes to the United Nations, every September, like next month now, they will all come and lament and cry over the deplorable condition in which their people live. And then a few countries have everything, mostly stolen from Africa, that they use to build their economies. And they are unwilling to give back. Instead of giving back, they are creating more programs to create more help for Africa. And this is why we need new leaders. So how come the African people, yes, 54 countries, most fake countries in Africa that we, the people of Africa, did not create? Yes, we come to the United Nations. We don't have one voice at the Permanent Security Council. Yes, no permanent. Africa deserves a permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. They deserve a seat more than all the people in there. But what is the situation? African countries are treated as if they are just vassal states because of the tragedy of leadership and the leadership imposed on them by those who do not wish Africa well. We want real leaders to emerge from Africa, and that is what we are demanding. We will take it, we will get it. So you Africans listening to me, go back home. Ask yourself these questions. Your ancestors were enslaved. Yes. Exported for 700 years to the Arab world, and later for 400 years by the Europeans to all over the world, including America here. Yes. Yes. And they came back after they told you that the slavery ended. They came back with another game called colonialism. And that is slavery in your continent. They didn't need to transport you there anymore. If you people came, hijacked all this, they built a new system. Yes, that oppresses you, that represses you. that exploit you, and then you give them thanks and praises. They come with the Bible. That's how they started. The other ones came with the Quran. Yes, they took your understanding on your idea and your pathway to the Almighty God and gave you theirs. Then you became a copycat. A copycat can never be an original cat. You will continue to limp. When you say you are trying to catch up, they have brought up a new system. You have to relearn again to get that system. We are not ourselves. We don't run our destiny. We are not in charge of driving our destiny. So this is why we must pause what is happening right now and then go back and think, redesign, go back to our original compass. It's still intact. We have it. Yes, the Americans did it. The Chinese did it. And guess what? They are prospering. The Indians are working on theirs. So why are we going to be the one that will be eternally subservient? Why are we going to be the one that are going to be eternally abused and exploited? Yes. So this is the takeaway from this meeting. I did not see Russia signing out its mineral resources to the United States. And I did not see the United States giving up all its rights to Russia. But when Nigerians, when Africans come here, they make them give up everything that they have. That is unfair, and that is unacceptable. It is our fault. I'm not going to blame them. We're blamed enough. But now it's our fault to go back home and do what we need to do. Why should a Nigerian presidential candidate in an election that is not going to be held in Britain go to Chatham House to read his manifestos? Yes, that is a sign of slavery. Yes, Americans freed themselves and became a superpower. And I believe that if Africans free themselves, they will become an even stronger superpower. Yes, with an Africa that is devoid of borders, Africa that has one economy, one leadership, yes, one progressive leadership, one actionable leadership, patriotic leadership, yes, one reserve bank, and one military who will stop it. That was what our founding fathers wanted. They were so visionary. They saw what is happening to Africa today about 80 years ago. And they came together to say, look, we got to make this thing so that our unborn generations will not suffer. But what happened? They were sabotaged. Who was used? They used people with the same skin color with them. They used people who spoke their language to sabotage them. Look at all of Africa's countries. Look at all the countries in Africa, one trouble or the other. Were we positioned to be in trouble? Yes, we were positioned by not by our own design, but by the design of external influences who work with the puppets from within Africa. So these are the puppets we must purge Africa of before Africa can be on the pathway to recovery. If we don't do that and do that on purpose, yes, I am talking that we have to do it with purpose in order that that continent will be set free and be open to doing business as equal partners with the rest of the world. And not an Africa that will come and give up its mineral resources for what? For pittances. And then they will come and tell us that we are poor. And then on top of that, they will tell us our countries are so corrupt. Who brought corruption? Who taught us corruption? If not they. Yes, that is why they will not allow good people who will raise their fingers to ask questions to be leaders of any African country. That is why they want to knock Ibrahim Traore out, because he's asking that question that not many African leaders are willing to ask. We are not a poor people. We don't need aid. So I would love the type of African leaders who will be respected the way President Putin was respected, visiting the United States. And African leaders, African leadership, that when they look back, they know that they have the mandate of the African people, and then they will speak with audacity. to the people of the earth and leaders from other countries. Yes. All right, Lisa Zulu, let me see what you're saying here. Zulus and the Bantus are colonialists too. How did you think empires became empires? Conquering lands. China just did it to 4 countries. Well, that they were does not make it right, and that does not make it a standard. Yes, we are evolving. We should evolve beyond that. We should get to the point where we can relate with one another. So I don't buy into that. That is an expired ideology. We are talking about the 21st century, and that we are talking about a new way, new ways of doing things. We are talking about respect. We are talking about the spread of global wealth for the good, of common good of the people of the world. We are not talking about anybody coming to oppress anybody. Oppression is evil. And those who came with these oppressive things came with the Bible, all right, that they have made us believe. And then in deference to our own system, yeah, we see God from their own prison and not from who we are. So that is wrong. I am not going to accept that type of argument. Mansa Musa made his pilgrimage to Mecca with 12,000 slaves into. I don't care about all that. I am talking about now and then going forward. So what they did then, though evil, if that was actually the case, is not what we must replicate. So don't justify evil with evil that happened in the past. So I'm not going to accept that. We are talking about now. We have been abused enough. So now is the time. Africa sells itself. Africa, if they did, yes, I agree with you that they did. That was then. But we must stop now. At what point? The point where we are now is the point where we must stop selling ourselves. All right? That is the point where we are right now. We are at the point of self-respect. I read European history. They have some of the ugliest history ever. If you don't say what you don't know, go back and read the history of all these people now who have turned to be monsters and oppressors of the whole of the world. I read it. I read the European history, so I know what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to come here to disrespect anybody with their history. But I want to be respected for who I am. I am talking about going forward. I am talking about looking at what happened to us. 5 events, very dangerous events that could have wiped us off the surface of the earth. But we refuse to die. But they are searching new ways of making it happen. Every generation comes with an agenda to destroy Africa. So this is the reason why my job is to wake my brothers and sisters in Africa up, so they can start thinking and acting the way a people should act to safeguard their unborn generation from being destroyed right before they are born. That is, my job is to promote global peace and global security. And that is exactly what ONN represents here. We appreciate all those of you who are contributing. We want to listen to some more, as we get along with this. And I want to remind you, in another less than an hour, we're going to be celebrating the birthday of Marcus Mosiah Garvey right here on this station. And I hope to see you guys back. After this broadcast, we're going to go ahead and start preparing for that broadcast. It's going to start at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time here in the United States, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard, and 12 midday Pacific, 7 p.m. Nigerian time, and whatever it is, wherever you are. But it's going to be starting in 29 minutes time. So calculate the time, and I would love to see you back. Read The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Professor Tony Martin, Thomas Sowell. Okay, I'm going to check it. I'll check it out. I'll check out that book. Fernando. All right. I don't want to read any disrespectful thing. Yes. I do not want to. I don't support slavery We don't support human trafficking. We don't support anything that exploit anybody anywhere on earth. Yes, that is why we are at the forefront of fighting for equality and justice for all peoples. All right? So I am speaking on behalf of Africans, and I am speaking for the African people to rise up, wake up, rise up against bad governments. So if you saw the beginning, you heard the rendition, you heard what President Putin said on arrival. You see how he talked about the history of the United States and Russia, the proximity of Moscow to Alaska. Yes, now the line, the sea, is the only thing that separates both things. We must respect our humanity. We must stop behaving as if we are animals. We must stop treating people with impunity that makes them look like they are less than humans. This is a good call. There's nothing. Remember, brother, they are all in this game together and are just the pawns in their game. I agree with you. I agree with you. So that is why we must wake up on our own to push back and let them know that we are not going to deal anymore like our ancestors dealt with them. So that's just what it is. We are not going to. We should not make ourselves cheap, as our ancestors were. So though they were very welcoming, they didn't understand that people come with a different agenda. The agenda to Africa, from what they did with the Berlin Conference, was just to steal, loot, and destroy. And that was exactly what they did. And then built a foundation for the disunity in Africa. So you and I in this generation, having known this, have a duty to ourselves and to the African people to stand up and to educate our people properly and to stop all the internal crises that we have. Yeah, that these people feed off of. They arm us to destroy ourselves. They arm us to kill one another. They send us on an impossible mission that make us less than human beings. And they benefit. They smile to the banks. They build their economies with our blood and our sweat and our minerals. They destroy our country. They help us. They aid us to destroy our countries. And when they decide that the war is over, they are the ones who will decide a war that is over. And they will move in. Their companies will move in to say, now we can rebuild your countries. Give us your minerals. That is exactly what is taking place. We will never stop paying them. We eternally owe them. Look at all African countries are indebted. How come that we are so indebted? How come that we have all these minerals? They are discovering more. More and more minerals are being discovered in Africa. But still we owe so much that unborn generations of Africans cannot pay. At what point are we going to cut off this placenta of exploitation? This is what this moment calls for. Why are Congolese fighting themselves? Since 1961, Congo has not known peace. Congo has not known peace. Look at Nigeria, for instance. 6 years after gaining in the Greek gift of independence, the country descended into hell. Yes, when it was, they say it was over, but it's still raging now. 6 million Nigerians perished. 6 million Nigerians from one tribe perished. Yes, from the manipulation of Imperial Europe. And we still can't get it right now. And they are back with a new set of destruction right now. One country called Nigeria, Boko Haram is operating. All the terrorist organizations are now assembled there. They use Africans, they use Nigerians to stoke this violence. They come and tell them that they are fighting for God. Who are you to fight for God if your God is real? The God they are fighting for is fake. It's not God. They are doing the bid of the foreign oppressors who give them AK-47 to kill fellow Africans in the name of God. And every bullet they fire grows the economy of the producer. Yes, Every AK-47 they purchase is more money for development and growing the economy of the supplier. Africans are not thinking. This is an eye-opener. This is the reason why I decided to play this. So hoping that my African listeners will hear, and listeners from around the world, and those who have conscience, who are from these countries where all these mayhems are concocted, so they will know when they come to power. I know I'm speaking to some presidents here. I'm speaking to some future presidents of America, future president of Russia, future presidents of Germany, yes, Britain, France, and those who can do right. They will say, okay, look, we have had enough of this. Let us build a better world where everybody will be happy. Yes. You know how many children, millions of children, are not able to go to sleep tonight in Nigeria alone and across Africa with food, no food in their stomach. They go to sleep without food in their stomach. But some countries, people throw foods to dogs. Yes, leftovers that they cannot eat. But there are some places in this world where people are not able to feed. Yes, there are places in this world they don't, if they cared, and that is why the United Nations is supposed to work very well for everybody. Yeah, that is why they are supposed to be able to do things so that sufferings of people in the world, around the world will be minimized. But no, they will not do that. It is about their interests. Yes, it's about their interest and nothing more. All right, so with this, we come to the close of this session, and in the next 14 minutes, we're going to come back to celebrate our brother, the originator, yes, the inspiration of modern Africa. I'm talking about no other person than Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the man who had no WhatsApp, no Facebook, no Instagram, no Snapchat, no LinkedIn, nothing, but was able to raise a 6 million man strong colored people to advance a cause for respect for the colored African people. And in 1900s, inspired the process that started the decolonization of the African continent from the United States. He did most of his work here in the United States. I'm so proud and happy that I'm here doing the same thing that he started. Yes, a race that we must conclude. He was the man who told us, yes, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery, for none but yourselves can free your mind. That Bob Marley, brother Bob Marley, put in song. You know, it came from Night St. Anne. Yes, the same place where Bob Marley came from, where he was born. The same place where Born and Spear came from. You see the power of St. Anne. You see the power of one man inspiring a whole generation. Even in death, he's still inspiring. Yes, he's still inspiring more people. Did I meet Marcus Garvey? No, I never met him. The only thing I did was read books about him and read his own book. And I am very, very inspired as perhaps the way he was. And I have the tools that he never had to do his work. Yes, and this is the reason why I am not happy with this generation. Because we have all these tools and we are still as disorganized as never before. Time is now for we, the people of the world. Time is now for the people of Africa to unite like he wanted. And so he'll be happy to be rested in his grave. All right, thank you very much. And again, I thank all those who took time to be part of this stream. And I'm happy that we're able to share this moment together. We look forward to seeing you when we come up with the celebrations of our brother, great brother, mentor, inspiration, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, in a few minutes. Bye for now.